guys, and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I have my mom here with me to do our last video for my mom's heart surgery journey series that we had going on. I cannot even believe that it has been 6 months since she got her heart surgery, and so we kind of just wanted to do a recap, talk about kind of what the last 6 months, really the last couple of months when we haven't filmed anything, have looked like, and kind of what's next and what's the next step. Last time we filmed, you were basically right out from the hospital. So from getting back into the gym, into working out, to easing back into life, kind of just how was that?
Yeah, it's been great. I did the cardiac rehab right after that, after being home, being on the couch for 6 weeks and thinking I'm never going to be the same again. And then went to cardiac rehab, and little by little things started to get better. The lung condition got better. That was probably the most difficult thing. It wasn't even the incision of the surgery, it was the deflating of the lungs.
Yeah.
Starting to breathe again and fill them up with air. Getting that little ball to go up, I didn't think that would be possible to get all the way up. And then within a few weeks, of course, that was like in the trash. I just didn't want to see that anymore. So the lung condition was the worst thing. And getting back into, you know, and not being frustrated with the lifting and the running and the working out. So I started running maybe, you know, half a mile and then a mile and a mile and a half, and up to, I can run up to 2 straight miles now. It was 6 months on March 28th, so a couple of weeks ago, and I've been lifting just as heavy as I was lifting in August last year before the surgery, way before the surgery, so a month before the surgery. So now I'm at the point where I need a spotter with my lifting, because I can do the lifting, I just can't unload it. Yeah, so I'm running back to work, back to normal life, feeling like myself again, you know.
Yeah.
So it's definitely 22 weeks of working out has made a huge difference, little by little, and that's why we wanted to do the videos. Because it takes such a long time, and I am one that I want things done yesterday. Right. So being week to week and seeing the difference from week 1 and the light weights that I had to do up to 10 pounds, up to 15 pounds, or none at all body weight, to the point that I am now lifting, you know, what I normally have been lifting, you know, the 100 pounds and the 40 pounds overhead and things like that, and running. So it's nice to have seen the progression in the videos. I'm keeping all the workouts from the beginning till now, week 22, and it's a huge difference.
Yeah, it's crazy. And so in the beginning, I've been programming her workouts for her, and in the beginning it was a lot of body weight movements, it was a lot of light weights, because she really couldn't put both arms overhead even at first because of the incision and just the recovery process. That's part of it. And so it's crazy now, every week we were able to up the intensity a little bit more, whether it was, okay, increase your weights by even 2.5 pounds at first, even just adding in weights for our body weight exercises, things like that, to now she's basically doing workouts that I was doing before I was pregnant. Like, she's basically doing her normal workouts that you would see anybody else doing in the gym. Like, it's really, you're not restricted really at all anymore to anything in terms of exercise, which is really, really nice. Like, the doctor is not telling you, oh, be careful of this, be careful of that. Like,
no restrictions. It depends on how I feel.
Exactly, which is how anybody works out, you know what I mean? So it really has made a difference in terms of, like, I know obviously we talked, or one of our first videos, you were talking about how you felt when you exercised, that you were out of breath, that you just, like, you saw your heart rate skyrocket. Are you still seeing that? Do you feel like, what do you notice a difference from now till before?
Big difference. Big difference in the amount of air that can come into my lungs or my body or my system when I'm working out. A lot of people think it's a lung issue that they're having. It's really a heart issue. So definitely I see that. I see the pulse. It's not going up as high. It's controllable, and it's coming down on its own once you start, you know, the cool down, things like that. Some of my favorite exercises, you know, the 2 arms overhead, or the cable machines, which I love. I was very frustrated not being able to do that, and now I can do that, and I'm upping the weight every time I do it. Or both arms overhead, this kind of movement, you know, like when I went for x-rays after surgery, I couldn't even grab the bar that they had to grab to be able to take the x-ray of your chest. They said, you can only get one arm up, especially my left. My left still hasn't caught up to my right, but I think But I think that's just normal.
Like,
you know, the right is so much stronger than the left. I'm like, this arm needs to catch up.
Yeah.
But this was the arm that, I don't know if it's because of the heart's on that side or whatever. More the work was on that side, more of the, you know, wires that were going into you are on the left.
Yeah.
So it seemed like this one was a lot harder getting over my head than this one. But now it's, you know, doing both and doing the exercises and the heavy weight, it just feels fantastic.
Feels normal. I mean,
feels normal.
Yeah, and that was kind of the whole goal, was just to get to whatever this new version of normal was. Who would have guessed that this normal is exactly the same, if not even better?
Right.
Because I think before, you maybe are lifting the same, and I think what's crazy is that we were lifting just as heavy and doing just as much before your surgery, but we almost didn't know the damage that we were doing.
Right.
Unintentionally.
We didn't know the danger that I was putting myself in.
Unintentionally.
Like when we went to the Outer Banks last summer, we worked out.
Right, and
we
heat,
pushed it.
Maybe like 85 humidity. Yeah.
And I did it, and we did it. We kept up with it.
And she was out of breath like anybody else would be.
Right, but it wasn't anything that we knew consciously until I went to the surgeon in August and telling me, what are you doing?
Right.
You can go into cardiac arrest. You should never be doing that. I'm like, I'm fine. I feel fine. He said, you'll see the difference.
Right.
And I do. Now that I do the same kind of workouts that I was doing last summer, I do see the difference.
Yeah.
I see the difference in recovery, the pace of the pulse, and
Yes.
going down and not feeling like I'm going to pass out.
Right, you had nothing to compare it to before.
Right.
That was your normal in the past.
I felt lightheaded, like I was going to pass out. I just thought I was pushing my workouts too much. But now I can do that, and I don't have that.
Right. So it's crazy because you're, I would say, better than you ever were before, because even though maybe on paper, numbers-wise is the same, you are not putting your body into nearly as much stress or anything as you were before. Like, your body is more equipped to handle what you're doing now than it ever was before, which is huge.
Right.
So that's a huge part of it as well. Just like that aspect of it, like our first video, you were very nervous about what would your normal look like, and it's just the same, if not better than it was. Right. But now you're not putting yourself in danger by doing it, and that's like the number one thing about all of this.
Right. But the next test will be on April 8th when I get off completely of the heart rhythm medications. I am on the last final 25 milligrams of Metropolol, and I will have the baby aspirin forever, but that's just normal. But the one medicine that I'm trying to scale down from, hopefully that won't affect me once I completely get off of it.
Right.
The reason I want to get off of it is just because it's like it was giving me migraines and nausea, and you take it at bedtime and all that, but I just don't want to feel that anymore.
Yeah.
So I asked to get off of it. The doctors didn't really like that, the cardiologist or the primary care, but they are going to do it on, get set to get off on April 8th, and then see what happens. If I have to go back on it for some reason, if the blood pressure goes up or the rhythm is not regular, then I'll have to go on it. But at least I want to try it to feel like I don't need to take anything.
Yeah.
So that's just the last little piece. Other than that,
so what's next? Like, what does the rest of, like, what does life look like now in terms of doctors, in terms of all of that? Like, what happens from here?
Just regular checkups to the cardiologist, the primary care. I have to go back and do the mammogram, which I skipped last summer, and the colonoscopy, which I skipped last summer. So all those things.
Normal things.
The only thing that's different is that I have to take an antibiotic before I have anything invasive. Since I have a heart valve, like when I went for my cleaning, my hygiene appointment, for my dental appointment, I have to take amoxicillin 4 hours prior to.
Right.
So if I have anything invasive, maybe not the mammogram, but the colonoscopy, for example, or anything else, I have to take antibiotics, because any infection that can goes right to the valve, and that's very dangerous to have something like that. But other than that, it's just regular checkups, regular life. I guess I should go to an OBGYN.
Probably.
GYN at this point, it's not OB. But I haven't gone in a while. But I skipped all those things. I didn't want to have that. So it's only been 6 months. So I feel comfortable going for the mammogram, and going for the colonoscopy probably after, the bambino is born.
Yeah.
But, just normal. Just not any different than anyone else.
Yeah, normal life now, which is exciting.
Healthy eating, nutrition. I have given up caffeine. That's another change, because I was getting migraines. I think my blood pressure was higher, and the doctor's thing is that the constricting of the blood vessels that happens with caffeine. Love caffeine, love coffee, but I gave it up. It was a tough 1 or 2 days, but then after that, it's like I haven't had a migraine since I stopped drinking coffee. So if they wanted to put me on another medication for migraines and all that, and I didn't want to go on anything else, so I said I'll give up caffeine.
Yeah.
I'd rather give up coffee than take something else. Other than that, there's been no change. Everything's just great.
So like final thoughts, kind of like just overall the whole process from start to end, like any last minute, like last things you want to say about just the process, the journey, your experience, just anything, any advice you would give if someone's going through it, just what would you say?
Well, just live healthy lives, you know, intentional eating and exercise. Don't ignore any symptoms you may have or a condition you may have. Question everything. Go to the doctors. Go to another doctor if you don't like that doctor. Get a second opinion. You know, especially if your life depends on it. Just live healthy and question everything. And you know, as you get older, things are going to happen.
Yeah.
And you can't avoid that. You can't fight that. You know, and you can't ignore it. It's not going to go away because you ignore it. So just, you know, live that and go to the best doctor you can find, do the research, educate yourself, learn about what you have, the condition you have, and how you can get better. So to help you live, you know, a long life, but a good quality life too. It's not living long. A lot of people live long into their 80s, but their quality of life is terrible. Yeah. So it's just being a good quality of life where you can do what you want to do, be active the way you want to be active, and, you know, just enjoy life. Yeah.
All right, that's kind of it. Obviously, I always like to throw the disclaimer in that obviously this has been our experience. This has been our journey. This has been her journey. Like, of course, everyone's just so unique and so different, and what happened up until when you may have needed heart surgery might be different. What happens afterwards might be so different. So, of course, please remember that. Like, we're not trying to give, you please trust your doctors more than anything else. We are just two people that have experienced this. Yep. She went through the surgery. I'm just someone that was affected by her going through the surgery. So please, of course, trust your doctors more than anything else. This is just our experience, but we know that can be a really scary time. It was a very scary time when we were going through it. And so hopefully if just little tips and just advice and how the process worked can help one or two people, then it's definitely something that we think is important and wanting to share. And we also want to document it because in 10 years from now, this may look like such a thing of the past, but for these 6 months when we were going through it, it was such a prevalent part of our life. And so it's not something that we want to forget how we were feeling. We want to be able to look back on. So I just always like to point that out there because obviously everyone's experience is so incredibly different with anything medical or just life in general. So please don't compare, but hopefully if this can provide any sort of positive outlook or just advice, hopefully it can do that for you. Yeah. So that being said, we are going to wrap up the video here. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, please make sure you go ahead and give it a big thumbs up. You already know it supports my channel. If you haven't, make sure you subscribe, hit that bell notification so you never miss another video that I post. If you haven't, make sure you follow me on my Instagram and TikTok so you can see other fitness, health, and lifestyle content that I post on there. I am also going to pop my mom's new Instagram and YouTube page here. She created a page to help basically teach Spanish through YouTube and basically Spanish 101.
Spanish vocab and grammar made easy.
There you go. So I'll pop that there for you guys in case you did want to go and support her on there. And I'll catch you guys here next time.
Gracias, adios.